Welcome to episode 2 of Bear Essentials. And like I've said in one of the previous videos, I've only made 2 videos. This is a channel for camping, a little bit of bushcraft and survival and this, that and the other. But it's mainly for you to enjoy the outdoors as much as I do, and using certain hacks and tricks and tips to really have a good time. Again, of course, I've got the video going, and Harry here is going mental already. He can't wait. As soon as I start talking, he's off. Right, so fires. 3 things that I normally take for fires. And this is totally up to you. If you want to be hardcore bushcraft, then by all means go hardcore bushcraft. I always have a backup, because if I'm out camping, I want to have a good time. I don't want to be struggling. I want to enjoy it, and I want you to enjoy it. There's no point you going out somewhere and you can't get a fire going, and all of a sudden you can't cook your food and you're cold and you're wet and you're not really enjoying it. That's not what I want. I want you to enjoy yourself. And so I'm going to give you my 3 tips, or 3 things I take with me. Number 1 is a big lighter. I take 3 of them. 1 in my pocket, 1 on my belt, on my survival tin, and 1 in my backpack. So that's it. So whichever way it goes, I've got 3 to choose from, and I can at least start the fire. And they're very easy to sort of, when they get wet, to sort them out a little bit, so that you can take the wheel off, dry it out, put it back on, and it tends to work. So that's enough said about lighters. So you want to take a lighter. Don't be so hardcore and then spoil your whole trip. Just take something as a backup, and it gives you the chance to practice. If you can't get your ferro rod, which we'll talk about now, if you can't get that to work, or you can't light anything, then at least you got a backup. Number 2 is one of these. These are a magnifying card. I've used this plenty of times. That's also a very easy way to get a fire going. But you require some good sunshine. This time of the year is a bit iffy. I've lit one about 2 weeks ago, and it's now the 12th of December. And I still could use the sun here up in the UK, and I could use this, so it's not too bad. It's a bit getting used to get it done, but once you get those shavings going, then it's not too bad. Right, so that's number 2. Now normally I carry 1 in the car, 1 in my wallet, and 1 in my pocket or my survival tin. So I've got 3 of them as well. Then the ultimate survival tool. I see some of the lads say that if you can operate one of these, you're a survivor. You've made it. Not really true in my view, but okay, we'll give him the give of the gab. So this is a ferro rod, or a 3-some rod, and this makes sparks when it gets scraped, and that can start your fire. This takes a bit of practice to get it going, and sometimes if your tinder is not 100% dry, it could be even challenging with this. This can get wet. Whatever can happen to this can happen. This will always light your fire, knowing you've got the skills to work it. Very useful to have. Now again, I've got 1 in the car, 1 in my backpack, and a smaller 1 in my survival tin. So I always have these things in free, in case this might come loose or fall off or disappear, or I put it down, which some of us sometimes do. Is I've learned now, but whenever you put anything down in a woodland, put it in your pocket, because once you put it on the forest floor, the woodland floor, and you might not be able to find it again, unless it's a very lightly coloured, like an orange coloured thing. Right, so that's for actual mechanisms or things to start fires. But now we need to talk about tinder and things to get you going. So when it's been dry and it's been nice, you can get yourself some grass and rub it and make a nice fine nest, or scrape some bark, or generally getting something that's really fine, or use some of these horseshoe fungus, or I forgot which little black ones, what they call, but in any case, we get them in the woodland where I go quite a lot. You can get them, dry them, and use them like that. to get you a coal going, and they will start very easy with any of these things that we have. But if that doesn't work, if you can find this stuff, it's birch bark. You can scrape this to a fine powder. You can use these fine fiddly bits that will take with a recent rod, and this burns almost like a fire starter. There's loads of oils and stuff in there, and I've had this where it was fairly wet and I could still make a fire with these, so that was really good. So if you can find a birch tree, that's the tree with bark that looks like this. I'll take you to one of the woodlands I go to. It's got loads of these in, and I go harvest this off dead standing. Very useful to have. So again, I have quite a lot of this. I got bigger bits, smaller bits, all sorts of size bits, stored in various places when I go, so that I have a fair amount of this. Then the other thing you get, that I find a bit hard to find in my area, is this stuff. It's called fatwood. It's when pine trees or these conifers, some of the conifer families, drop their limbs, they pump the knot, or the bit by the tree, they pump it full of resin. So if you can smell this, it smells like a bit of turpentine. And so this stuff burns like crazy. You need a few shavings for this, put a spark to it and it burns. Doesn't matter if it's wet, cold, dry, you name it, this stuff will burn. So these, I've used these in the past, and I'm going very sparingly with these because I find it a bit hard to actually get a decent amount of these here where I live. But this is my second go-to. If I can't find birch bark, I tend to try and find this, and if I can't find this, I'll get a softwood that's dead standing, cut it down, split it in half, and use the inside of the tree and shave that really fine with a knife, and then try and get that to start as tinder. So that's the natural stuff that you could find, and look for yourself if you really want to go hardcore. But I sometimes carry these with me anyway. Then your more traditional firelighter. Don't, like I've said, take some of these with you. You never know when you might need them. You might not get a fire going, and that will spoil your trip. So take some of these with if you really can't get things going. That will help you. I also keep one or two of these with me at all time, just in case, because at the end of the day, I'm going out to have some fun and relax and, you know, experience nature. So I'll make sure I have one of these firelighters. I like these in the bag. I don't know if you can see the name there, but this is the ones I like. You like them in the bag just like that. Then secondly, white gold. This is also very good for starting a fire, especially with your ferro rod. I am a firm believer that to practice with your ferro rod on a sheet of toilet paper, if you can light that then, and you can do that consistently, then you should be able to be alright if your tinder is fine, that you've collected when you go camping. So these two is good to do a bit of practice. I might do a short video of this, how you light toilet paper, and you can sort of see how it works. I think there's many videos that show you how these things work, but in my book is if you can start a decent piece of toilet roll with this, then you're fine. Then the other thing that I use is these sanitizers. Basically, I have one of these in my bag, just in case I've messed about and I've got my hands really dirty and I'm a bit worried that it might cause me something. Even if normally I take it with if I'm in swamps and not swamps, wetlands and stuff where I get really mucky and I want to eat something and just quickly clean my hands off when they're really dirty, I tend to use this. But it's also very good for starting fires, and this will go on a spark very easily. So this is also very useful. And that's basically my tips for today on starting a fire. I know it's boring again, and I'm sitting at home. At the moment I'm doing couch bushcraft, but I just thought I'd let you know what I'm taking with me regarding fires. and so on and so forth, and then you can sort of learn a bit about the skills and make sure you got these things in your backpack so you can be sure to have a good time when you go camping. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.